and welcome back to Scrap with Penny, where paper meets story. I wanted to share today some layouts that I've done over the last 7 years using cut files. And I'm going to show these in the order that I completed, going back to the very earliest one. And I created this in November 2018. It is pretty straightforward, and I use the offset button inside to create hearts that were the same size. So you can see they kind of lay right in there. They're not glued behind. And so this was my first attempt, and I think it turned out pretty good. But the thing that I love about the cut files is that they're an instant visual design element, and they can really set your theme, set the mood, and just really create your page almost instantly for you. They are a lot of fun to use, and you can, in your silhouette mat, you can stretch them to any size. And for this one, I took it almost to a full 12 by 12. Since it's not a solid pattern, it wouldn't have gone to the edges anyway, but I did a cardstock background to this wood grain on this floral, and this Simple Stories Vintage Blessings is one of my favorite lines. I just love the colors. I love fall. We get a little bit of fall here in North Texas, enough to make me happy, I guess. This was to document the very first Saturday that we spent on our patio in our new house. And if you look out here, you can see no other houses were in the neighborhood yet, and we were quite happy to be out of the apartment and into this house. So this, I love how this layout turned out. My second layout was created in June 2020, and it was for an Allison Davis 6x6 class, and Nicole at Coley Being shared this Mickey SVG file that she had with me, and I used it. And where on the last heart cut file, I backed every heart, you can see on this one I was sporadic. And again, I'm cutting it just to the same size. I'm not going behind. And I love this layout. I mean, I love it. Mickey Mouse, all the time. And this is, when you go 12 by 12 on this, and you have a bigger story to tell, you can do what I call a companion page and come over and be a little simpler in your design, focus on paper pictures, add a couple of clusters, and then your design work is done for you over here because it kind of carries the page. And I did a title on top of it, of course, just like on the last one, and popped it up on foam. I had a lot of fun with this. We love Halloween at Disney World, and I could do this page again and again. And I love when you have the cut file that goes edge to edge and just immediately sets your theme for you. This next one I have is pretty simple. It was done in October 2020, and it's mainly for framing my holiday Christmas card that year. And I shrunk down my journaling. This is what appears on the other side of this card, and backed it in different colors. I've got some Nuvo drops around. I've shared before how they flatten in your album, and if you look closely, you could see that. I did some stitching on this as I did on the hearts, but instead of stitching inside the shape, I stitched around the outer elements of the wreath to kind of support the framing effect. The next one I have to share was featured in a July story time because of July 4th, but I wanted to include it in this layout share in case people were wanting to see cut files all in one place. And here I used the fireworks element to be the center of my page and backed it in different colors, and then added some gold stitching to really highlight the pyrotechnic feature. Again, I came in with my background with cardstock and plaid. I just like the framing of this. I feel like it kind of gives the center of the page a stage to shine on. And these are the old school journal strips, down flat and probably a little uneven if you study them. but I love a good cut file, and I love playing with the different colors and the backgrounds and how you can make every design your own. That's kind of the neat thing, is that like a sketch, it gives you a foundation for a page, but how you use it and how you create a page with it is your own, and you'd probably never find two that are alike. I completed that last one in August 21, and this one here I completed in February 22. This was, again, part of a different Allison Davis class, and I wanted to share on this that you can take a large cut file background, do an inset, and then you can paper piece how you fill your cut file. This was for my birthday, and I thought, why not go all out? Of course, it was 2020. We're all in our mask, and then I stitched, putting the 1-inch squares on the diagonal, and I created this page initially, and then again I came back and created a companion page just using a very simple pocket page format this time, 3x4s, 4x6, a mix, and that's a great grid look that will carry. And it's nice to get one page done quickly when you spend so much time on what I like to call a feature page. So I love to put a companion page with a feature page. This is a sweet little book file, and I had so much fun with October Afternoon Public Library papers, and I got, the words on the inside of the books, and as a book lover, that was fun for me. And this was just a quick little page to document my first Kindle dying, us getting ready to cruise again, and me wanting to be able to take a Kindle with me and upgrading it. And then the other story buried in here is that I didn't start reading the Harry Potter books until 2019. I was a holdout. So the first book that I downloaded on my second Kindle was the very first Harry Potter book. So stitched on the inside of the books here, and I think when you can add stitching to the cut files, it elevates them. Now, don't get me wrong, a cut file in general is going to, in my opinion, elevate your page, but you can, it's kind of like cherries on top of the icing on the cake. This is another double page spread, and I took an element that would normally fit on one page, and I backed it, and then I cut it and put it over here. And so you've got motion across the page. And I mean, talk about a simple design. So very standard pocket page layout with your photos, 3x4s and 4x6s with this cut file flanking it on each side. I stitched on the white edging to bring more texture to the layout and to emulate the movement of the water. So a lot of fun on this page, and I did a little title on top of it and little clusters, so I do have a visual triangle. It's not hard. I mean, you can still get a visual triangle with a cut file. Just have to be careful to spread out your elements. I created that book layout May 22, and I created this layout July 22. So I created in 2023, and this was an Allison Davis We Create class layout, and she designed this layout for us. But I did want to share it because it shows a basic shape, a circle, turning it into a pie, adding this little crust, and then taking a slice out of it. And I went out and found a little dollop of whipped cream to put on the slice of pie. This is a really fun layout. Again, a simple grid on this side. It's such a good formula. If you want a double that really stands out, do a larger cut file on one side and then do your companion page on the right. The stripe I added at the bottom and the top to unify the double page spread more. And this is just a lot of fun to me. This was also created in August 2023, and it is about my love of school. So it's a title down here, and then I married it with a very enlarged image. And I think that for me, this works great because I don't have a lot of pictures of my childhood, and these 3 little pictures of me in school are supported by this big, beautiful design element. And then you can, of course, come in, and I liked putting the protractor on the D because it resembled, you know, this shape of the D. And I had fun getting the little supplies that would kind of support the letters. I found some paper looking paper for the pages of the book. And it's just a lot of fun to me to create the different looks. This page came together quickly. I created it in May 2024, and just a big bold title took up half the page on design size. And then I had this enlarged photo from our Empire State Building tour, you know, the one that they take and it's kind of crummy and you have to pay $35 for it. But, you know, what's a trip without a little tourist trap, right? And just a quick journal strip here. You can see I'm putting them up on foam and using the Hero Arts die by this point. Thank goodness. And then I decorated around the letters and down here to move around the page, and another cardstock mat on pattern paper. Quick, easy, fun, bright. I love it. I completed this layout in May 2024, and it's one of my favorites because there's a real sweet story behind it that's in hidden journaling up here. And of course, you know, there's enough information on the front to let you know who, what, where. And I just used some stickers around the page to create some visual interest, and I let the big love, love, love carry all the weight on design, basically. Eye-catching, and I chose to leave one open because I just love this paper, and again, cardstock mat on pattern paper. In May 2024, I grabbed some classes from Paige Evans for her NSD sale, and this was one of them. This is not really my style at all with the mixed media, and I mean, I guess just the mixed media. But I did emulate her class example because I like to learn. I like to try new things. I think learning can continue to stretch you in your scrapbooking and give you new ideas. So very simple layout with just a 4x6 of us and following her style. And this is Bungalow Lane, I think. This layout was for a sketch challenge I was part of, and it's using an Allison Davis sketch bundle, and this over here called for a bunch of embellishment clusters, I think. And instead of doing that, I just took a cut file and sized it down to fit what I needed to cover. And you know, you can go in and use a knife to alter the shape or an eraser to detach lines. And I liked this idea. It was a lot easier for me to use this cut file than cut a bunch of smaller items and piece them together. So again, I think it always grounds the page and your eye immediately goes to it. So this is Cocoa Vanilla. I did that last page in the summer of 2024. This page I finished in March of 2025. It was part of my effort to finish documenting my 2021 month in review album, and this is my title page, and I think it turned out really cute. It's, you know, features 12 photos, one from every month, and it's simple stories, so happy together, which was the paper I used throughout that whole project. I like the smaller title in the middle. This is the kind of page I could do over and over. In fact, when I get ready to do my next month in review album, this could be a candidate again for the title page. This cut file is one that I made. I have a process video on this and on the rest of the ones that you'll see. I wanted to document my corporate career and how it had been over time and across two cities, Houston and Dallas, and using October afternoon 9 to 5. I created a graph in a spreadsheet and then did a screenshot and brought that in and then into my silhouette mat and then traced over that basic underlying image to get my proportions for the careers. I like how this turned out. So that last page and this page were both for the Scrapbooking Cards Today class, design class featuring Allison Davis that they offered earlier this year. And our assignment this week was to use embellishment clusters to serve as your design element on your page. And I decided to put a smaller cut file in the center and let that be what my embellishment cluster is built around. So I basically have a circle around another circle. And I liked using a cut file in a smaller size. It wasn't that difficult to back, and I thought it created a great focal point for the page. I created this page in July as part of my guest design work for the Scrap Room Kit Club, and this cut file was part of our kit, and I decided to use it and build around the title to create this feature page. And again, I did a simple companion page over here. I didn't back all of this. I let some of the pattern paper back it for me, and that was a fun trick. You know, anytime you go to use a cut file, you can find a new way to work with it. And then along the lines of that beach vibe layout, I used a cut file here on a much smaller scale to serve as a focal point for an embellishment cluster. And this was also part of my July Scrap Room guest design work. And I thought that this little cut file added a great element to serve as a grounding base for all of these flowers. So the nice thing about the cut files is that it's an instant design anchor. It adds interest to the page. It gives you a variety in your layout style. You know, you don't have to tell every fall story the exact same way. They serve as title pages. They support or build a theme. They can replace a band in a design or an embellishment cluster. They serve as a main page to make a double layout easier. They can be a support element when you scale them down. They can frame your photo. They can cover a whole page or slightly less than a whole page. So a lot of versatility, a lot of fun. Everyone's different. And I thought I would just take this opportunity to show you a variety of my cut file layouts so that maybe you would be inspired to try them. And if you have any questions about using a cut file, put them in the comments below, because I think it's one of those things that might seem a little harder than it is. And as long as you've got a good understanding of your software, it's pretty easy to get one from start to finish. I hope that you had some fun scrapbooking along with me while you watch this video. And if you're one of my subscribers, I wanted to say thanks so much. If you're not, I'd invite you to consider hitting that subscribe button. You would receive notifications of my new videos on your homepage. It would be great to have you as part of our Scrap with Penny community. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. I'll be back soon with more layouts, videos, and a little stash busted magic. So please come back and crop with me. Until next time, happy scrapping, and remember, this is where paper meets story. Bye-bye.